Well, hey guys, it's another week on the Angler News KZN Fishing Report. Guys, this time we are being broadcast from Blue Lagoon, where it's pretty much the calm before the storm. Because this weekend we are in for some big seas, some bumpy weather, but we have a plan how to fish this weekend, and we're going to tell you about it at the end of the show. But for now, what we can tell you is that this week started off absolutely fantastic. I mean, there has been an array of species that has come out. It was beautiful and lots of anglers really enjoyed the spoils, but then it turned iffy. The seas got big, the wind came through, there was snow in the mountains, it was freezing, it was cold, it was really unpleasant. But today is another beautiful day and the guys are out there, they're getting some fish. Nothing too crazy that I've seen so far, but we do have a report of what came out earlier this week. Now we're going to get into all of this in this week's show, but before we do, guys, huge thanks to our sponsors, the Kingfisher and CMH Pinetown, with their brands being Proton, Nissan and Mitsubishi. So guys, let's start off down the south coast. The cob came through really quite thick this week. I mean, there were cob over 20 kilos plus, a fair amount of them, and one even coming in at 38 kilos. These were caught on those really big rapalas with a lead weight on that treble hook. So down the south coast, it was fantastic. There were bream, there were brusher, the non-edibles made their appearance, which was really good to see. You are looking at sandies and grays. Guys, like we said, there was a lot of bream species, and then the weather turned. So the sea has gone really bumpy. There's a lot of wind coming through this weekend. So if you are going to be down the south coast, guys, the suggestion is find some gullies and go and fish there. Shelley Beach Tidal Pool is one of the areas. Shad Bay in Manaba is another. Apart from that, not too much is predicted for down the south coast. So have a look at Adam's report of what the conditions are lower down south coast.
So good day, Vinesh and everyone else. As you can see down here on the lower south coast, things are really not looking too great. At this local bronzy spot that we all have become familiar with in Manaba, the sea is pumping and there is massive rolling swell. I can't even imagine what those lower gullies look like. Probably just full of sand and seaweed. It's going to be everywhere for these coming days. So yeah, not looking too great.
Now moving down to Warner Beach, guys, Gary has reported that there has been a few garrick that's come out. There has been the stumpies and brusher. That is going on for the last couple of weeks now. Nothing much has changed except for the weather not being so fantastic. And guys, the shad is gone. Zero shad, nothing, no news of shad at all. Now moving on down to Durban. So guys, in Durban, once again, there has been a few fish, right? Not many fish, but with the fish that did come out was some very nice fish. In fact, we've heard of shad going up to about 7 kilos. The inedibles made their appearance. Those were some sandies and honeycombs that has come through. A few gray sharks in between as well. But guys, it hasn't really been crazy. A lot of anglers have been catching more of the bream species. I've seen one come out just now behind me. Guys, the weather has been quite trying in Durban this week. So unfortunately, there hasn't been too much to report on. On your offshore side though, bottom fishing was absolutely fantastic. Saturday and Sunday, numerous reports. Then it kind of died down and those big seas prevented the anglers from going out, so not too much has been happening on the skiboard side. Those that did prevail managed to get some decent snook, and like I said, it's the bottom fishing species that the guys were targeting. Keelback, darga, and of course the rest of those bottom fish species when they managed to get that window to go out. As for the North Coast, guys, North Coast hasn't been too good this past week. In fact, there hasn't been much to report on. The entire Belito stretch, nothing really has come out. I mean, we did hear of one garrick, we heard of the snook. Snook has been coming out on your offshore side. But apart from that, the weather, it's just been one of those weeks where nothing much has really happened. And that's the same for Zinkwazi, Blightdale, and Turnley Manor. And guys, then in Mtunzini Bank, Nick has reported the river is finally open. So that's a good thing. And with the river being open, he says there's been a lot of mullet. Now we know we will expect a lot of predator species chasing on that mullet. So in the next day or two, we should get some reports of some fish that were caught. On your surf side, there has been a few honeycombs, there has been a few diamonds, nothing too crazy. There were one or two big shad, but like we said, the weather threw things off a bit. Now moving up to Richards Bay, I've got reports of the harbor that has been fished quite well during the course of the week. Reports did slow down, but during the week, there were the usual suspects, kingfish and garrick in the harbor. And on your offshore side, there has been some good bottom fishing, as well as some tuna, odd cooter, and kingfish. As for St. Lucia and Cape Vital, well guys, that has slowed down significantly from last week. In fact, this entire week, the tackle stores has been quiet. There has been no reports coming through. The guys that are running the tackle stores told us their friends, they haven't even been fishing. The weather just not prevail for that. So guys, that is your saltwater report in KZN. Now for the freshwater. Jan is back, and Jan has reported on some scaly action, some trout action. The bass is on the bite virtually in every dam in KZN. I mean, take a look at some of the scaly action, and it is truly remarkable. As for the carp, well, they are waiting for your boilies throughout the entire freshwater scene. So guys, in KZN this week, unfortunately, it is what it is. It's just been one of those weeks. It's the windy season. It is pretty much expected with what's been going on. Unfortunately, there was just not much to report on. Yes, we started off with a fantastic week, but the weather was just not in our favor. Hence, we've got these rough seas. We've got minimal anglers out there. We've got minimal rods bending. And as for this weekend, well, our reporters tell us if you were to go out and fish, our suggestion is go and find a gully, somewhere that's protected from the wind. The harbor, not too much has been happening apart from grunter and snapper salmon. But one thing we can tell you is that when the weather's like this, guys, go out and bass fish. There are so many dams in KZN where the bass fishing is really fantastic during this time of the year. You do not need to worry about the weather. The fish are on the bite. And I can tell you, there are a lot of anglers that have jumped from ski-boat fishing. There are a lot of anglers that has jumped from rock and surf fishing and started going and doing bass. Go and try it out. When the weather is like this, there's nothing you've got to lose. Go and try out that bass fishing. Guys, for Angling News South Africa, I am Vanessa Graham. Hopefully next week we are back with some better results. So make sure to hit that subscribe and follow button. And when you're out there, always remember, keep that fishing area tidy, respect your bag limits, and fish for the future.